21 minutes after the hour, America. It's Hugh Hewitt. Adam Laxalt is my guest. He's a candidate for Attorney General in the Silver State in Nevada, and one of the attorney generals that will make quite a great bit of difference in defending federalism against the omnipotent, omnipresent federal government. Adam Laxalt, welcome to the show. Great to have you on.
Thank you, Hugh. Really appreciate it.
Well, I have been doing this for 15 years. I've covered a lot of debates, and I have never, ever, ever heard an exchange like the one that occurred on Friday night in your debate with Democrat Secretary of State Ross Miller, who's running against you for Attorney General of Nevada. First of all, before I play the clip, Miller's been accused of accepting $70,000 in gifts. What kind of gifts did he accept?
Well, he's accepted, very expensive ringside seats to events, shows, ball games. It really runs the gamut, and as I've made clear, our governor, Sandoval, has accepted about $400 of gifts in the same period of time that my opponent's taken almost $70,000.
All right, so he gets a question from the moderator on Friday night about these gifts. That's the background. Here's the clip, and the astonishing part comes on how he attempts to deflect a direct question about his corruption or the image of corruption and how he segues from it. Play the clip.
Why I disclosed it. So it's unfortunate that they're trying to penalize me for disclosing, while at the same time, Mr. Laxalt refuses to release his military records. Said he didn't have them on Nevada Newsmakers. He became in the middle of a crisis after these Lewis and Roker reviews were put out in the media, criticizing his ability to become, or criticizing his background as an attorney. Lo and behold, he then puts out selected records. I think that suggests he'd had them all the time. Why don't you release them all so we can get to the bottom of this? When you say you were prosecuting terrorists in Iraq, is that true? Doesn't seem to be. It seems like you were processing paperwork. You don't have the level of experience that you claim you do.
That's your time. Mr. Laxalt?
Processing paperwork, Ross? You have any idea what it's like to go into a war zone in the middle of the surge, in the middle of the most challenging time we faced in Iraq? It's just appalling. Obviously, you've never served in the military.
So you were justified. You didn't leave the podium. I'm surprised you didn't leave the podium. Couple background questions. When you were deployed to Iraq, Adam Laxalt, were you married?
I was not at the time, thankfully, which, of course, is one of the great troubles for our guys when they leave their wives and children. But I did have a single mom at home that certainly worried about me every day.
Yeah, so you had family. I was going to ask then about your family worried about you. I am astonished that anyone would say what Miller did. Has he apologized to you and to the veterans of Nevada?
No, of course not. And I don't anticipate any such apology. It's just unfortunate. This race, when I got in, I was behind because he's been in office for a long time and is a career politician. And now that we've closed to an even race, these are the types of things that people do. And rather than continue to compete on who's going to do the best for Nevada, he wants to go at my service, something that I've never made an issue of the fact that he didn't serve. We're the exact same age, and I wouldn't, because everybody needs to make their own decisions. But once he crossed that line and affirmatively attacked my service, which, for the record, we have put all our records online. I was continually baffled that he kept bringing up that point during the debate. We've put them up, and we received nothing but huge accommodation for my service in every tour I've had, including my time in Iraq.
Now, Adam Laxalt, Dan Sullivan, running for Senate in Alaska, was also attacked by Mark Begich for his service. I don't know if there's a Democratic consultant out there who is advising poorly his candidates to go after military veterans, but would you describe when you went into the Navy, when you went to Iraq, and what you did in Iraq?
Sure. I was at Georgetown Law just after September 11th, and at that point in time, I kept looking back to my grandfather, who was a World War II vet and member of the Greatest Generation, and that kept hanging with me that this was the bond they had, that they served their country in a time of need. And that's when I decided, rather than go to a big law firm, to join the Navy and become a judge advocate general. And about a year plus into my active duty service, the Navy tried to step up to help our Marines in our Army that had been on their second and third tours and see where we could volunteer. And then that's where I came in. I volunteered to go to Task Force 134, which was in charge of detainee operations in Iraq. This was in 2006 and 2007. By sheer timing or coincidence of timing, while I was over there is when the surge was announced and started.
So you were not in the Green Emerald City. You were in Camp Victory, I believe, which is closer to the airport.
Yeah, Camp Victory, which was where our Marine two-star general, commanding general of detainee operations, as well as obviously General Petraeus and most of the leadership, the large forward operating base in Baghdad.
Now, unbeknownst to you, earlier today, after I wrote a column on this for townhall.com, which is linked at hughhewitt.com, I got an email from Craig Warner, who's a friend of mine, was a JAG, and then also went up to Alaska as an AUSA. He's now in private practice in Houston, said, I knew Adam Laxalt. I was in his trailer. Did anyone mention that those trailers got shelled? I don't think, my guess is that this clown, and I'm going to call him a clown because I really think this is outrageous, Miller has no idea what it's like to have lived in Baghdad, even on a forward operating base.
I have not made this a centerpiece of my campaign until my opponent just started going directly at my character and my ability to perform. At that point in time, we made it very clear that I've honorably served, and we've probably scratched the surface in what I've done in Iraq and what I did in the military. And it's certainly something he can't relate to. I mean, he doesn't know what it's like when you're on a phone with your mom, one of these cell phones that we get to call back, and a large explosion goes, and your line is disconnected, and you can't get back to your mom for 12 to 24 hours. That's not something we talk about, and frankly, not anything I anticipated talking about during this race. But he is as far out of touch on this as you can imagine, someone who sat here safely, in fact, pushing paper in the office that he's in now, and it is just appalling. And, you're right. I didn't leave the podium. I pretty calmly responded, but a lot of people said they would have left that podium and probably attacked the guy. So
have you heard from veterans? How big is Nevada's veteran population, by the way, Adam Laxalt?
There are estimates that we have over 200,000 veterans, and we have Nellis Air Force Base, of course, the biggest Air Force base in the world, and we also have Fallon, which is where Top Gun is.
Yep.
So we've got a lot of active duty, and we have a lot of veterans that make Nevada their home. I think because of the tax climate, and because it's just places where they know that they can retire and be left alone.
Well, I hope every single one of them and their families and friends know that Ross Miller disparages their sacrifice and their service, and he doesn't deserve to stay in office. Adam Laxalt, continued good luck in your campaign to become Nevada's next Attorney General. I'll be right back, America. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.